For years, the West has been trying to isolate Russia. Sanctions, trade restrictions, asset freezes, everything short of an outright economic war. But here's the real question. Can the world actually survive without Russia? Can industries, economies, and even entire nations function without Russian resources? Today, we step into Russia's perspective and explore why cutting it off might be impossible. The West says it's isolating Russia, but here's the reality. Russia's economy is still growing and its exports are more valuable than ever. Cutting off Russia sounds great in speeches, but in practice, it's a different story. Take oil, for example. Europe claimed it would stop buying Russian oil, but Russia simply rerouted it to China, India, and even some European countries through intermediaries. The result? Russia is still making billions while Europe deals with higher energy prices, but oil is just the beginning. Russia holds something even more critical, something the West has no easy replacement for. Here's a fact that will surprise most people. Russia controls nearly 40% of the world's uranium enrichment capacity. Even if the US and Europe buy raw uranium from Canada or Australia, they often need Russia to process it before it can be used in nuclear reactors. In the US alone, 1 in every 5 homes is powered by nuclear energy. And guess what? A huge portion of that nuclear fuel comes from Russia. If Russia were to cut off uranium exports tomorrow, power plants in the US and parts of Europe would face serious shortages. And before you say, well, the US can just replace Russia, think again. Building new enrichment plants takes years and billions of dollars. Right now, there's no quick alternative. Sure, the US could try to shift supply to Kazakhstan, but even Kazakhstan sends much of its uranium through Russia for processing. Cutting Russia out of the equation isn't just difficult, it's almost impossible in the short term. Let's talk about something even more essential: metals. Russia is one of the world's top producers of critical minerals like palladium, nickel, titanium, and aluminum. And these aren't just ordinary metals, they're the backbone of modern technology. Want to build an airplane? You need Russian titanium. Boeing and Airbus both rely on it for their aircraft. And while Boeing is trying to move away from Russian suppliers, it's not an easy transition. What about electric cars? Nickel is a crucial ingredient in EV batteries, and guess who's one of the largest nickel producers? Russia. That means without Russian metals, the cost of electric cars could skyrocket. And even your smartphone? It probably contains palladium, another metal where Russia is a top supplier. Without it, making semiconductors and high-tech electronics becomes a lot harder. So, again, can the world survive without Russian metals? Maybe. But the cost would be devastating for industries that rely on them. While the West is trying to isolate Russia, Russia is doing the opposite. It's building stronger alliances. Trade with China, India, and even Middle Eastern countries is booming. Instead of selling oil to Europe, Russia now sells it to India and China at a discount. And then, those countries refine it and resell it, sometimes back to the West at a markup. That means sanctions aren't stopping Russian oil from reaching the global market. They're just changing how it gets there. And it's not just oil. Russia is also moving away from the US dollar in trade. More and more deals with China, India, and Brazil are happening in rubles or yuan, weakening the West's financial leverage. The world isn't cutting off Russia, it's rearranging itself into new power blocks. So can the world survive without Russia? Technically yes, but the real question is, at what cost? Sanctions haven't crushed Russia, they've just shifted global trade. The West might be playing checkers, but Russia is playing chess. So, what do you think? Is the world really ready to move on without Russia, or is it just an illusion? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video interesting, hit like, subscribe, and share. More deep dives coming soon.